Penguin Random House Audio presents Fault Lines, Fractured Families, and How to Mend Them by Karl Pillemer, Ph.D. Read for you by Pratt. Note to listeners, this program includes a downloadable PDF that contains the appendix from the book. For my family and families everywhere. Note to listeners, all names in this book are pseudonyms, created by a random names generator. Any resemblance to those of actual persons, living or dead, is entirely coincidental. Indeed, if you find your name in this book, you can be certain that it's not you. Please also note that the information in this book is not intended as psychological advice, nor is it a substitute for professional expertise or treatment. Listeners should seek the advice of a qualified mental health provider with questions regarding specific family issues they are experiencing. Introduction. Once, there was a boy named Christopher Robin. His greatest joy was to wander the 100-acre wood with his friends, the little bear named Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, Rabbit, Kanga, Roo, Eeyore, and other quirky, lovable animals. Christopher Robin participated in their many adventures and misadventures, living an enchanted childhood in a secure, benign world. My guess is that you read and loved these stories as a child, and watched the many movies based on them. If you are of a certain age, you have read them to your children and grandchildren. You probably know that the stories are based on a real person, Christopher Robin Milne. The real Christopher Robin's father, the author A. Milne, wrote the stories for his son's enjoyment, based on Christopher Robin's menagerie of stuffed animals. The setting was a lovely forest near the family summer house where father and son wandered and played together. We see these stories as testimony to the love of a father for his son, bringing his childhood fantasies to life. We imagine the warm and loving relationship that Milne and the real Christopher Robin must have had. What you may not know about Christopher Robin Milne is this. He became estranged from his father, and they remained alienated throughout their lives. Milne believed that his father had stolen his childhood. By early adulthood, he felt that his father had never approved of him because he was not living up to the family name. From the vantage point of midlife, the younger Milne leveled the accusation that his father had got where he was by climbing on my infant shoulders, that he had filched from me my good name, and had left me with nothing but the empty fame of being his son. The estrangement extended to his mother, whom he did not see for the last decade of her life. The feeling was apparently mutual, as his mother pointedly refused a last visit from Christopher when she was on her deathbed. Given this family's fame, why aren't these facts well known? For the same reasons that you do not know about your friends, neighbors, and co-workers, who are in precisely the same situation right now. Shame, isolation, and embarrassment pervade family estrangements. In a society in which few topics are taboo, most people in a family rift feel so alone that they avoid speaking about it even to their intimate friends. Estrangement is hidden within the confines of the family and, when revealed, implies failure, poor judgment, and suspicious family secrets. As reported by many people in this audiobook, revealing an estrangement from a parent, a child, or another close relative leads other people to silently wonder, what's wrong with you? When I began my interviews with estranged people, I was not aware that they experienced such an acute sense of shame and isolation. One of my first interviews revealed the stigma attached to estrangement and gave me a powerful goal for this audiobook. Dominic Guerra has never given up trying to maintain a relationship with his parents, despite periods of estrangement that have lasted years. His story is complex, involving a difficult childhood, rejection of his wife by his family, and dueling views of past events. I was struck by the degree to which Dominic felt deeply alone. He told me, "There's been many times when I have felt like I have the worst family situation ever. I know that's not true, but when I've had some irrational moments, I think that my situation is the most bizarre, the weirdest that could ever happen. If I could hear from other people who have had family complexities like this, it would help to know that I am not alone, that every family has issues. And I would certainly be able to let them know that they're not alone if they heard my story. The goal of this audiobook is to bring the topic of estrangement out of the shadows and into the clear light of awareness and discussion. By mining the wisdom of hundreds of people who have experienced this problem, I will offer new insights, data, strategies, and practical tips for coping with and healing family rifts. Not all these ideas will apply to everyone, and some listeners may fail to find solutions or will disagree with the advice offered here. However, I will feel that my years of work on this project and book are justified if I am successful in this one goal: creating an environment where people can freely acknowledge the problem and open up about solutions in productive and positive ways. If I accomplish nothing else, I want to reassure you that your family situation is not the worst or the weirdest in the world, and that you are not alone. How this book came about. Like many important choices we human beings make, my decision to write this book emerged from disparate sources. Let me get the first one out of the way, because I can hear the questions in listeners' minds. Yes, there have been estrangements in my extended family, and no, I'm not going to tell you much about them, as tempting as it may be. As to the first point, I have observed processes of estrangement and reconciliation up close, and therefore have a personal understanding of family rifts and how they can be resolved. Regarding the second point, this audiobook is not a first-person account of estrangement. One reason is that I cannot offer my relatives the anonymity I provided to my respondents, and I do not wish to cause new family rifts by revealing stories that are not mine to tell. More important, however, is the scientific basis for this audiobook. I conducted a series of studies over the past 5 years in what I named the Cornell Family Reconciliation Project. The research includes the most extensive in-depth interview study ever conducted on family estrangement and reconciliation. To gain an even broader perspective, I conducted a national survey of 1,340 individuals and interviews with marriage and family therapists. My goal is not to provide you with my own, necessarily limited, personal experience, but rather to offer concrete guidance using the wisdom of crowds on how to understand, cope with, and resolve family estrangements. So, where did this audiobook come from? It emerged in part from my career-long research interests. For over 30 years, I have studied family problems, such as conflict, domestic violence, and parental favoritism. I have helped pioneer the study of ambivalence in families, recognizing that our idealized expectations of the perfect family are never met. Everyone, to some degree, experiences a complex interplay of positive and negative thoughts and emotions about their families. We want closeness, but we simultaneously seek independence. We feel obliged to assist our family members, but we also resent their demands. When it comes to our typically untidy family lives, most people nod in agreement with the fully ambivalent old expression, "Can't live with 'em, can't live without 'em." Thus, I was primed by years of research to look at family complexity, closely attuned not just to the cheerful outward appearances that make up social media posts, but also to the darker sides of family life in which people feel unfulfilled, abandoned, or abused. But it took one particular event to make me decide to spend years studying family rifts and how to overcome them. I owe this audiobook in part to a very special older person. Here's what happened. In 2012, I published my book, 30 Lessons for Living, Tried and True Advice from the Wisest Americans. I had spent a decade interviewing people in their 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond, focusing on members of the Great Depression and World War II generation. In long and detailed conversations, these elders openly discussed many emotionally charged issues, including
Sample complete. Ready to continue?